Moi ora te whānau. Welcome back to the 99Dreams podcast. I'm Raori, and if this is your first time listening, you've stumbled upon a great episode. You're welcome. But if you're a returning listener, welcome back, guys. Man, I've got a treat for you guys today. I told you guys how I did that PT course in Wellington at NZIS all those years back. Well, I'm pulling on one of those favors from all those years back, and I'm really in one of the most successful people from that PT class. We've got Kieran Drew with us today, ladies and gentlemen. Kieran, what's good, brother? Welcome to the show.
What's happening, man?
Man, how are you doing, brother? You doing well?
Doing well.
Bro, before we do get started, can we just get a quick call by Norway, who you are and where you're from?
Kieran's the name and fitness is the game, I suppose. I'm, an online fitness educator, I suppose. I don't like to say, people think that everyone who's online talking about fitness is a influencer, but it's not the case. Some of us are there to actually try and, teach people things and not, just sell product. But yeah, basically I'm just an online fitness educator. Used to be a PT in person and have taken everything online. So, yeah.
When did you make that shift online?
When the first COVID lockdown hit, it was basically then. I've been kind of, working on making the shift, and then COVID happened. All the gyms shut down, couldn't train people in person. And I thought that's got to be a sign. If I've ever seen a sign, now's the right time, then that's got to be it. So it was then, and it's taken a long time to build up, but we're rolling now. We actually just started a challenge today, an 8-week challenge. We're starting it tomorrow, I should say. It's rolling.
Bro, I did see that on the website. It looks intense. What's the challenge involved?
It was basically just 8 weeks, and you get a nutrition plan. Training plan's optional, and the goal is just to try and kickstart the year with some healthy lifestyle habits. Basically, I try and put the onus on. Challenges tend to be about like blasting. 8 weeks or 12 weeks of just going hard nuts, and then come the end of it, you've restricted yourself so much that you just binge and go back to your bad habits, and it just defeats the purpose of doing it in the first place. So I'm trying to do it in a way that's like, think of the long term. It's only 8 weeks, but think of how can I incorporate the healthy lifestyle changes for the long term, not just for 8 weeks.
Yo, so you're just trying to sort of build that platform for them to run with it after that 8 weeks is over.
Yeah, but basically the idea is to give them some structure around their meals and their training and that type of thing, so that you don't have to do all the guesswork and you don't have to work it all out yourself. I help you to give you the structure. You just have to do it. Basically, you just have to follow it.
Yeah, how do you track the progress of all your clients and stuff being online?
Well, I have an app, and through the app is where you access your plans, your nutrition and training plans. But you can also upload progress photos through the app, and you can log your body weight and your measurements and stuff. And so that's probably the easiest way to do it, is just to a combination of all those different things can paint a really good picture about how much progress you're making.
Yo, because when I was going through your website the other day, I was like, shit, this is pretty mean. But like, yeah, how are you able to track?
Did you like that website? Because I built it myself.
Yeah, I was about to ask you as well. Like, how the fuck did you build that? So you built that and the app?
I didn't build the app, but I built the website. I used to have a really bad website. Like, it was just shitty. It just didn't look good, And so I thought, I'm going to redo this myself. And I didn't want to get someone else to do it because I knew that they'd make one that I wasn't happy with. So I just did it myself, and a website builder type of website.
Bro, no, I like it. You got those little fade-ins and out as you're scrolling through. I look through on my phone as well as on my laptop. Bro, it's a good website. It's clear, concise. Thanks, you know what you're getting. And it does, you feel your essence as you're coming through, because I was like, as I'm reading through it, there's no bullshit in here. Kieran's always been a straight-up guy, even when we were in our classes. There's never any bullshit with this fella.
Oh, it's the only way to be, There's no room for fluff,
That's what I love
like
about
it is.
That's what I love about it. So yeah, how do your clients feel when you just tell them, straight up, no bullshit, this is what you've got to do. If you don't, you fall off?
Well, I think it's appreciated in the fitness industry in New Zealand because we don't have a lot of people who do what I do and just tell it like it is. There's always there tends to be an agenda, trying to push a product or whatever it is. There's a lot of influencers in New Zealand, but there's not a lot of people just educating because that's what they're there for, like online PTs tend to become influencers,
Yeah.
and, not particularly on purpose, I don't think, but that's just the way it tends to go. So, you just got to tell it like it is. I don't think there's any reason not to, Otherwise, it just makes it really confusing because then you have all these people telling you all this bullshit, and you're just like, how does it actually work, If we're talking about weight loss or building muscle or something, it's like, it's so confusing. All these people just like, oh, it works this particular way. You have to buy my product or my plan or whatever it is. Otherwise, and then the next person says, no, it works this way. You buy my thing. And it's like, man, I just want to know how it works.
Yeah. There's so many blurred lines within that too, eh? Like they're
Yeah.
always saying, oh, but if you do this, you burn fat, gain muscle at the same time. And if you do this, then you buy my products and buy my fat burners and you buy my protein and use my discount code to get 10% off at the checkout.
10% off, yep. Off OxyShred or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always like, well, what would people want the most, Who, like, if you could lose body fat and build muscle at the same time, I mean, why wouldn't you? Why would you waste time doing one and then do another one?
Yeah.
It's like, I can do both at the same time if I just buy your program and your supplements. Like, shit, hot. Let's go.
Bro, hard out. Give me that Arnold physique in one cycle?
Yeah. 1 month and I'll be bloody transformed and, look like a bodybuilder. Cool.
That's I think, anyway, this is my opinion, but that's what I think's so wrong with the fitness industry and where it's at the moment is that there's too much, like you say, product pushing and not enough actual, just cut the bullshit. This is what it is. And like, it takes actual hard work to achieve this shit. There's no overnight fairy tale story.
Yeah. I mean, it's all product driven and sales driven, how can we make the most amount of money from people? And we'll tell them our supplements do things they don't, and we'll exaggerate all the claims, and but there's a certain, I think, it is tempting because you can make more money if you do that type of marketing, if you exaggerate things and oversell things and promise things that that you can't deliver and stuff. You can make more money for sure, but you have to kind of check yourself and say, well, if you were to be a millionaire but you knew that you did it dishonestly, would you really be happy with how you got there? Man, I wouldn't. So that's why I do it.
Yeah, 100%, man. Like, cool. You make your money, you do you, but you can't rip off the people that are getting you there, eh?
No, and the thing with health and fitness is that a lot of people don't know shit, to put it bluntly, about any of that stuff. So it's very easy for them to believe the first thing that comes along, because why wouldn't you? Why would you think that someone's going to try and deceive you and take your money? So the reason that we called ourselves the good guys in the first place is because we wanted to be the good guys of the fitness industry who you could trust to actually tell you how it is, whether you want to hear it or not, and that's where the name came from. So,
sorry, I don't actually think we introduced the name of the business and the brand.
Oh. It's Good Guys Fitness. Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. It does. There's the logo, but it doesn't have the words on it. It's on the back. It's on the back of my hat too, actually. But yeah, that's what it's called. The company is called Good Guys Fitness, and I am the good guy.
He's a great guy. You can find their website as goodguysfit.com. Your social media pages? I'm going to tag it all below in the videos and in the Spotify.
It's all Good Guys Fit, I think. Yeah, on most of them it's Good Guys Fit. Yeah. Check
it out, Fano. Like, you'll learn so much, and you'll get a good laugh out of it too, because he keeps it real. There's no bullshit, like he says. And I think that's why there's so much benefit to it. How long did it take to kind of scale to go from, essentially just word of mouth to now as big as you are?
I think when we started the company and the social media and stuff, there was two of us. There were two good guys. The other guy, his name is Ricky, and he left kind of in the relatively early stages. When we started, we had 400 followers on Instagram, which was basically our combined friends and family. We knew we'd started to get somewhere when we sold someone bought a T-shirt from our website, and I said, I didn't recognize his name. I said, Ricky, do you know who this person is? And he's like, no, I don't. Are they one of your friends? I was like, no. He's like, cool, a random person has bought one of our T-shirts. We've made it,
That's success.
But yeah, so we started off at the bottom, and I I was the guy who made all the posts back then, making these shitty posts that if you look back now, you'll think, oh my God, looks like I made it in MS Paint, But, my Photoshop skills have improved, and it's just a case of just grinding it out and just trying to put out content. And people come to like the content that you make, and they start to trust you, and then they follow you, and it just builds and builds and builds. And, we're not finished yet, but I've come a long way from where we began, that's for sure.
Yeah, because I've told a couple of people that I've got you coming on, and they're like, "Oh, is that the guy who posted about the calories and stuff?" I was like, "Yeah, that's the guy, man." So
the guy.
you've grown, you've grown from Kieran and PT1.
Yeah, it was random. I was playing Warzone 2 the other day, and I dropped in with some randoms, and they were listening to a New Zealand fitness guy called Fit to Guk. I don't know if you heard of him.
Oh, yeah.
And I could hear in the background, and I said, "Oh, is that Fit to Guk?" And oh yeah, and then we got chatting, and they were like, they realized that it was me, the good guy of Good Guys Fitness, and they live here in Wellington. It was just completely random, but it's such a funny, I have people recognize me at the supermarket and all kinds of things. It's just a weird thing to be, people treat you like you're some celebrity or something. It's like, you're just on social media. Like, everyone has a social media. It's just that, some of us promote our social media more than others, it's a weird thing. In New Zealand, it's like you're a New Zealand celebrity,
Yeah, man, you're definitely up there. You got a familiar face and a familiar brand.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what? It's taken since 2020 to now to.
What is the year? 2023. It's probably been about 4 to 5 years in the making, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, initially it started off really slow, but we started off because Ricky and myself were both personal trainers at different gyms, and but we wanted to, share what we had to say with more people, and so the only way to do that is going online, and it took a while to get it off the ground because, personal trainers have very abnormal schedules as it is, so trying to match two together to try and work out what content you're gonna make and how you're gonna do everything and stuff, it's just very difficult. So it took a long time to actually set up in the beginning.
Yeah, because I found that as well with this. I initially thought, man, if I get a co-host, that'll be great because it'll make vibing a little bit easier. We could do solo podcasts more often. But then I realized, well, now I've got to sit and make sure my schedule lines up with someone else's schedule, and that lines up with our guest schedule. So now I've got to manage 3 people as opposed to just 2 people. So I was like, no, you know what? I'm just going to keep it solo for now until I get big enough that I can employ someone to be a co-host, and then it'll be a little bit easier.
Well, I have noticed that a lot of podcasts do have 2 people, There's not a lot that just have one person. For some reason, some of them have like one guy talking, and then there's like 5 people setting it all up and doing all this other stuff,
Bro, it's a crazy thing. Like, you'll have your camera guys, you'll have your sound guys. Like, if my headphones weren't working, then I just raise my hand, a sound guy comes and fixes it up. Yeah, and then you normally have a backdrop better looking than mine. And
yeah, well, here was me 10 minutes before we're supposed to come on here. I'm scrambling to try and find my microphone. Like, where is it? It's only half charged. Oh man, where's my headphones? I only just made it on time.
And Fano, for those who don't know, he's had over a week to prepare.
No excuses.
How do you find the building content and consistently releasing content?
I tell you what, it is a grind. I love doing it, but it really is a grind because the stuff I find more difficult, because I make different types of content, but one of the ones that I'm known for is making the calorie comparisons, where it's, images showing different foods and how many calories or protein and comparing them, whatever. And they're not so bad because I can make those just on my laptop anywhere. I can be anywhere and make them. But if I want to make training content, like let's say, here's how you do a squat and here's how you don't do it or whatever, that's much more difficult. And if you've ever been into a gym and you try to film content, you understand, like, you got lighting problems, you got people in the background problems, you got, like, you name it, and it will go wrong trying to film stuff. And it's an absolute nightmare. And I've been trying on and off to get it going, and there's always something that stops or gets in the way. So I'm working on that, but it's it definitely, and you understand why guys like, Gary Vee, you're familiar with Gary Vee?
Yeah.
you understand why he has a whole team of people just recording him all day long, chopping it up into content, giving it to him, and he posts it, and it's just easy, Whereas when you're your own content creator, you got to think about what you're going to make. You got to make it, then you got to post it. You got to respond to the comments, whatever. And there's actually a lot to it, and it is fun, and I do enjoy it. But man, it can be a grind sometimes. Sometimes it just sucks the soul out of you.
Yeah, man, you've really got to love it, eh? Like, if you don't love this shit, then you're not gonna last long enough. Like, yeah, I've got Gary's books here. Luckily for them, he's walking content. Like, that's why they're always recording him, eh? Because no matter what he says, it's gonna be gold one way or another.
Yep.
Whereas
he's so good at it. He's just walking content, like you say.
Yeah, and I don't know, he could talk to anyone in the street and then just be like, boom, yep, and then give them all the wisdom they need. And he pretty much gives them the tools to succeed. It's just some people don't take those tools and manifest that into something real. That's how I started this.
Yeah.
Gary Vee's just like talking to those people. You know how here's the Q&As and they're like, oh, Gary, I wanted to do this, but I don't know where to start. He's like, just fucking start. Oh, Gary, like my business, how much content are you posting? Are you on TikTok? Are you on Instagram? Are you on LinkedIn? Post that fucking shit. So that's what I've been trying to do, is just match that, post as much as I can. At the moment with a full-time job, it's hard to make content, edit content, release content, and work your full-time job.
Yeah, especially when you start off, because you'll be releasing some content and you won't get much coming back. You won't get many comments or many things like that, or likes or whatever. And then you think, why do I even fucking bother? And but you just got to keep going, and then people start to get into it, and then it starts to roll, and the feedback loop begins. But in the initial stages, sometimes you're just posting stuff and you literally get no feedback, and you're like, cool. Who am I talking to here? Am I just talking to myself?
Bro, it feels like it sometimes, eh?
Yeah, it does.
I've released reels and stuff, like clips of podcasts, and I'm getting, maybe 200 views, maybe 6 views. And then I did this one filter on TikTok, which just like picks your... Have you ever played Ultimate Team on FIFA?
No.
It like kind of just gives you a rating and your position in football. So I did that. It took literally me just sitting there with my phone in my hand, and then boom, I've got my rating. And that got, I think, over 1,000 views. Is one of my most viewed TikToks. I'm like, I put no effort into that shit. Fuck you.
Yeah. That's what all those like reels and stuff do, eh? Like they help you to just create some content out of nothing,
Yeah.
But I just can't bring myself to make that type of shit. I just can't do it. I have to, I want it to be like, whenever I make something, I'm like, what is the point of me releasing this? There's no point. I'm just like, don't release it then. Don't even make it in the first place,
Yeah.
What's the goal of this piece of content,
It's like that. I feel like the dumbest content always gets the best response. Like the one that you don't like the most, or you are like, this shit isn't going to fly, and the next minute pops off. You're like, bullshit.
Yeah.
So you're on TikTok? You make TikToks as well?
I'm on TikTok, but I don't really post anything there at the moment.
You're just a user.
Yeah, well, I have a little bit of content on there, but most of the stuff I do is on Instagram and Facebook. And I do want to do, like I said, I do want to do more video content, but it's just a nightmare. So it's a bit of a struggle, getting it going regularly, But when I do, I'll try and post it on YouTube Shorts and TikTok and Instagram, and get, across as many as I can. But you'll know the struggle of that if you've tried to do that as well, is that you'll have a piece of content and you'll edit it for like something, the right resolutions or whatever, and then you go to put it on TikTok or something, and then you're like, oh, fuck, I have to change it, and I have to change something about it, and then you go to YouTube and they're like, oh, no, you can't do that resolution, you've got to do this. And you're like, man, I just want to put the video on there, man.
It's such a mission. But it doesn't tell you sometimes until you're halfway through the like upload, and then you're like, oh, come on. I sat here for 20 minutes and this is all you've got.
And you learn as you go, like you learn things like on a video, if you put one frame of the cover image at the start of the video, then on certain, I think it's on TikTok, it will make it the default cover and stuff like that, save you a lot of time. But you don't know that until you kind of do it, and you're like, why does it look like shit? And you're like, oh, delete. Okay, let's try something else and put it, and it's just a like trial and error process, to kind of learn the hard way how to make the content.
It's a steep learning curve, but I think once you sort of get the hang of it and you start understanding what works and how to edit, I think that's the key, is how to edit. Then it'll kind of starts to fall into place eventually.
Yeah, yeah. It takes a while though.
Shit, yeah. But in talking about how to make content, creating a little easier, have you utilized Chat GPT?
No, I haven't. I've heard about it, but I haven't. I haven't used it. Have you?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've just been
Yeah.
asking this thing how to become a better vlogger, how to become a better podcaster, just to promote the brand a little better so that I'm more concise in how I'm speaking and talking.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, it gives great advice. Um, not too sure how well it works in other scenarios, but in the simple stuff that I've asked it, it's not too bad. I did ask it to do an analysis of Te Tiriti o Waitangi. It was a bit flaky.
Oh well, as long as it doesn't end up as bloody Skynet, then I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, bro.
It's a slippery slope.
Shit, yeah. It's also I've also used it to create titles for podcasts and the description for the podcast and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just pull out some keywords from the podcast, throw it in, and then it'll say, "Oh well, call it blah blah blah." I highly recommend it,
Maybe I should have a look into this. It might save me some time.
bro. I think it will definitely save you some time, especially if you know you need to come up with your own exercise plan that you don't want to have to think about creating. You just ask this thing, chuck in.
Yeah. Although when it comes to content, I do like the idea of like you said, when you went through my website, you could tell it was me because it sounds like
Yeah,
me. But if I'd gone through ChatGPT, it would sound like somebody else, or something else. And it wouldn't have that same appeal, you know what I mean? It wouldn't be that like, oh yeah, this is obviously Kieran's website because he sounds like him, which is kind of like a cool thing,
Yeah, no, 100% agree with your personability and your personal self coming through your website. You won't get that with ChatGPT. You'll get quite a generic sounding voice, and it uses
Yeah.
words I don't think many people use.
Is that what's coming up in all the reels where there's like some kind of bland robot-y dude's voice just yeah, that must be
Yeah,
what that is. Yeah, I've noticed an increase in those. Yeah,
but one thing that's
it's a
scary
funny
about it
voice.
is that it can write an essay for you
Yeah, it's just
and
going to
reference.
improve the way that people can cheat. When it comes to essays and stuff.
Everyone's going to university now.
Yep. Yeah.
Some people even say that this thing could make universities obsolete because you've got all that
maybe.
information accessible, but it is limited to 600 words.
Well, it's kind of like Google, where you can just go and Google anything and get an answer. Not necessarily the right answer, but you'll get an answer. So it's like, it's like if you don't know how to make spaghetti bolognese, well, you just Google it, and now you know how. So you don't have to be a good cook.
Yeah. And if you don't know how to like physically put it together, go on YouTube and they'll show you.
And there'll be 100,000 people showing you how to do it in different ways. Yeah.
So in terms of the expansion of Good Guys Fit, what's next?
Good question. Put me on the spot. Well, the idea, or the dream always was, to set everything up so that I can travel and I can work from anywhere in the world. Most of the way there, but I've still got some stuff to do behind the scenes to improve my platform and stuff, which is the app, that people access things through, because I want to make it as good as it can possibly be basically. And I want to make a lot more content, particularly video content, and do YouTube and that type of thing. And it's just a lot for one man to do, by himself. So it's going to be a case of how do I, what can I delegate? I'm going to have to employ somebody. It might be a videographer or whatever, or even a social media manager or someone like that to just make it so that you can kind of keep improving and keep growing. So I'm not sure, honestly, but probably just more content and stuff at this stage, and then we'll just see how we go from there. Yeah.
If you could pick one of those things to move into, whether it be hiring someone, whether it be moving into video content, or whether it be increased social media presence through a social media manager, which one of those things do you think would sit at the top?
I would like someone to make my content for me, and in the sense that, like, I'll make the content because I am effectively the content, but I would like someone to chop it all up and like they do for Gary Vee, where they can video it and they just chop it up, give it to me, and I can post it or whatever. Or I wouldn't even need to post it, but the point is, it's like you're still in the content, because I think you got to know what your strengths and weaknesses are, right? And my strength, I think my biggest strength when it comes to my business is that I'm very good at communicating, and I can communicate what I'm trying to say, and I make things easy to understand. So if I can continue to do that, and then I can make content, but I'm certainly not the best content maker in the world. So if I can find someone who's really good at that to do it for me, I think that'd be a really good combo, and it will give me a lot more time to actually be the content and go out and film things and that type of thing, because I wouldn't have to spend all my time editing it and mucking around with it, So I think that would be the thing. I think you got to know. I think Gary Vee says that, actually. He says, know what you're good at and employ people to do the things you're not good at.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite at that stage, but I think it's not far off, I would say. So, yeah.
Bro, that's on. At least you've got that understanding of what needs to get done, because, bro, editing is a motherfucker, man. Like, I spend a lot of time editing. I think for an hour episode, it's 2 hours minimum editing. That's if everything goes smoothly.
Oh, yeah. And it doesn't take much for it to, like, someone to go off the rails and you're like, oh, my God. And it just, and you just think, man, it's like, for the amount of content, is it even worth putting all this time in to edit this thing? Like the other day, so I have a freezer in my garage that's I've turned into an ice bath, right? So I was going to do a video of me getting to the ice bath because I hadn't been in there for 8 months, and I thought it would be entertaining because it would probably shock the hell out of me, not literally, and hopefully,
yeah.
And but then I like set up the camera and stuff, and I filmed it. You're in there for 3 minutes, and negative 0.3 degree water, I think it was. But it wasn't even that bad. So I watched the video back and I was like, boring. And so I got on my social media and I was like, I'm just not going to spend the time to edit that, because it's just not worth it. Like, for putting it up, it's like, oh, here's Kieran sitting in a freezer full of fucking ice and water. So boring. Like, maybe if I was saying something interesting, but I was just trying, like, I was just chilling, excuse the pun, but it just wasn't worth the editing that I was going to have to do to it. So I was like, never mind. I'm sure it'll feature again. You know what I mean? But you just got to make those calls where it's like, is it worth it or not to even spend the time editing it?
Yeah. Well, I guess for it, you could do a voiceover and talk about the benefits of ice baths.
Yeah. Well, the trouble was, so here you go. The whole time I was talking to the camera. So if I do a voiceover, I'll be talking, and then there'll be a different voiceover, Yeah, it'll look like it. The overdubbed movies, isn't it? So yeah, I was just like, nah, just delete.
Yeah. Well, hey, at least you learn. That's a learning, right?
Yeah. Next time I'll just sit there with my mouth shut, and then I can voice over it later.
Yeah. Bro, it is tough though, especially when you film content, because you're like, in your head, this is going to be bomb, this is going to be mean, and then when you watch it back, you're like, that's shit. All right, well, put that to the side. Or maybe put that as a montage, as the end of the year montage from what I did.
Yeah. Oh, and it's funny too. Like, you'll do things like, you go to the gym and you're like, I'll film my exercise and I'll be like, here's how you don't do it. Here's how you do it, right? Which seems quite simple. But then you'll film yourself doing it, and then you'll watch it back and you'll be like, from this angle, you can't even see the things I was trying to point out. Or I'll be like, actually, my form's not very good in this video, like, for whatever reason. I'm like, I'm going to have to do that again. So it's like just things like that, where you go in and you've got this great idea and you film it and you think, hell yeah, I got it. And it's not until you go back and watch it and you're like, damn, I did not get it at all. Do it again.
That one rep.
Yeah, one rep is just like complete dog shit. You're like, oh, can't put that on social media.
Bro, because that will come for you too. Even if the rest of it is immaculate, it's just one rep is just a little wonky, or you look a little unstable. I'm like, oh, look at this guy, trash.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it defeats the purpose if you're trying to do a video to show the technique. Here's how you do it correctly, and then you're not even doing it correctly. But well, you know,
How do you deal
for
with
shame.
online trolls? Do you have trolls yet? Are you big enough for trolls?
I've had trolls from the beginning, actually. And the reason was because I used to boost a lot of my content on Facebook first before. I liked Facebook more than Instagram, probably just because I was more familiar with it. But on Facebook, like on Instagram, you find a different audience than you do on Facebook. Because at the time, although a lot of people don't want to have a Facebook anymore, at the time, pretty much everyone had a Facebook, right? So when you boost things, your posts out to people, all kinds of just random people will see it, and they've all got an opinion, you know. Whereas on Instagram, it will tend to only be seen by people who are into fitness, you know. So you get a different demographic, and so I would have all these people saying all kinds of dumb shit on my posts, and I used to argue with them, and you know, it might be about like artificial sweeteners or something, and they'll be like, "Oh no, they're harmful, they're this," but and I used to argue back and forth and back and forth, and Ricky always used to say to me, like, "What are you doing? You know, what's the point?" But I was so like, I am right about everything, you know, and I'll just have this thing. But now, if I get people criticizing things, you know, I'm quite happy to have a constructive discussion, you know. But if people are just there to hate, so block, I just block them.
Yeah, yeah,
And it saves so much time. Because at the end of the day, are you going to be able to, if you're there to educate people about health and fitness, are you going to be able to help somebody who just basically tries to tear down everything you do? It's like, no. So what's the point? You know, you don't lose anything by blocking that person. You just save yourself time, and you don't have to deal with that negativity anymore until the next one.
until the next time reads it's here. Or until they make a burner account just to troll all over again.
Yeah, Kevin Durant, bloody burner account.
Yeah, man. You said earlier that you're quite a good communicator. Where did you learn these communication skills from? Because it's quite essential, and I think people coming through these days lack some of those skills.
That's another good question. Well, I have worked in several call centers. So I suppose I had to be good at communicating over the phone where you can't see body language and stuff. So you've got to be good at doing it with words and tone, I suppose. So yeah, it's probably from that, I suppose. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that you have to have as a online person who does social media and stuff, you've got to have lots of different skills, and you have to be relatively good at like a lot of different things, as it turns out. And like when I started making these posts, this is why my early posts look like complete shit, is because I was just hopeless at Photoshop. I just could not do it to save my life. And so I said to myself, you got to learn how to do this properly. And so I did. And I just taught myself how to do it. And now I make quite good graphics, you know, that are clear and concise and whatever. But I had to kind of learn that myself. So what I would do is if I was not very good at something, I would just go hard until I was good at it. And I've basically done that with every aspect of social media that I needed to. And so that's why I can kind of do everything. It's not like, you know, when I make a video, it's not going to be the best video in the world, but it's better than I would have made it 2 years ago or whatever, you know, because I've just learned what not to do on certain things. So I think sometimes it's just like you might make a post about something and then you read through the comments and you're like, okay, I have not conveyed what I wanted to convey here. And everybody's like confused and stuff, and it's not their fault. It's because I haven't actually explained it properly, and say, like, okay, I got to explain this better. Or you might look back and go, oh, actually, I shouldn't have said that because that's not what I meant. And you kind of learn through trial and error, like to be more concise with things and be, you know, don't fluff about things and don't exaggerate things. Just tell how it is, and it seems to just get the message across better, you know.
Yeah, definitely can agree with that. It's all in the words you use, or the videos, the words that the videos say. It's quite hard, to get something that captures everything or every part of your audience. So do you kind of go, okay, this will be for this particular part of my audience, this will be for that particular part, or?
No, I don't. I do nutrition and training, and I just, here's the content, eat it up.
Like it or love it.
But yeah, I'll give you an example, because I do a Q&A on Instagram that, you know, comes up on Facebook as well, most weeks, and it's, you know, a question box where you can put in whatever question you want about nutrition or training, and I answer it with a video. And I'll sit in this very spot, in this beanbag that I'm sitting in right now, and it will be the most simple question, and I'll record it, and then I'll just stuff up the words. I'll just like trip over myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, ugh. So I have to do it again. And sometimes I literally did this. I think it was yesterday I did a Q&A. I had one thing, one question. I can't remember what it was. And I must have tried to take that video like 15 times. But it was one I had to probably talk for about maybe like up to 60 seconds without making a fuck up. And I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. And I was like, I'm just not going to answer that question. Because it gets to the point where you're like, I just can't do that one today. My brain's just not allowing me to do it. And you go, okay, let's do a different question. So, when it comes up on social media, people think, oh man, Kieran's this amazing communicator because he's so concise with all his answers to these questions. It's just bam, 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 bam. And it's like, yeah, but some of them I can get straight away in the video. Some of them it takes me multiple goes, and because you might be talking about something, then you just start waffling, and you're like, oh, I'm waffling. That's not a good answer. Do it again, and that's just what you have to do sometimes because you want it to be concise. You don't want people to be wading through your stories like, oh God, this guy's waffling on about this. Isn't even what the question was about, So that's one of those things. I think what we do is we get so obsessed with making everything perfect, we end up just not posting things that aren't, are anything but, And I think there's definitely I think Gary Vee says that as well. You can't just nothing's going to be perfect. You've just got to post things. But at the same time, if you do a really shit job, do it again. That's what I'd add on to the end of that. If you've done if you watch back and you're like, that's not what I meant. That's not what I'm trying to say here. Do it again. There's no harm in doing it again, but it doesn't have to be perfect either.
Yeah, I get strung up a little bit.
I probably waffled just then.
Nah. I guess you were. Nah. It was to the point. There were a lot of examples in that point.
Well, I appreciate you saying that.
No, man, it's true. I think a lot of my listeners enjoy hearing more examples in lessons like that.
Yep.
So I wrote down a couple of extra questions because I knew you were coming on and you're business minded. You have a business mind. Yeah. So I thought I'll ask some of these.
Yep.
How do you stay authentic and genuine in your business dealings and interactions with customers or clients?
Did you write that question or did ChatGPT?
I wrote half of it. It just reworded it because I couldn't formulate it.
I was joking, but what was it? How do you stay authentic and genuine?
Yeah, well, I asked, how do you stay you to what you do and your client base? But it come out like that. This sounds better.
Well, I would say I don't like it when I make a piece of content and I read it back or watch it back and I go, that's not me, that's not who I am or what I like. That's not, that's not me, I suppose is the best way of putting it. And I think you've just got to, you don't want to be, because what everybody does on social media in particular is that they always portray a version of themselves that they think other people will like or they want other people to like. And that's not what it's about, and there isn't like, it's like you have to put in the effort to be yourself, but at the same time, you can't, it's actually kind of hard to explain, but you've got, it's like, what would an example be? I suppose you've just got to make sure that what the content that you're putting out is really you. It's not all the best bits of you and none of the bad bits or whatever. I just talked about how I delete videos that aren't good, but anyway. But, you just got to think, well, is this content I'm releasing, is this in line with my vision or what I am trying to achieve here? Is there a point to it? What's the goal of this content? Because if there's no, here's an example. If I just post up a picture of me with my shirt off, it's like, well, what the fuck's the goal of that? How is that helping anybody to be better at nutrition or training or whatever? And that's why I don't never do it, but I hardly ever put them up because I'm just like, that's what influencers do. Because they're like, here's me when I was completely peeled and tanned and had the best lighting in the world, buy my stuff, and I don't want to be like that because that's not what it's about. So it's like, well, at the same time, it's like if you put up a picture of yourself and you look good and that can motivate other people to train hard and, stick to their nutrition or whatever, then that's a good thing. But I mean, how many people are realistically going to see a picture of you and think, "Oh shit, I got to get back in the gym, and I got to diet," So it's like, well, what is the goal here? Is what I'm posting consistent with what I'm here for and what my goal is on social media, or is it not? And is it just because I want likes and to feel good about myself?
Yo, I like that.
I definitely waffled on that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at
Yeah.
least I know it.
But there's still some truths and some insight within that as well, though. So in saying that, how do you know when it's authentic, and how do you know when it's kind of bullshit, even though you've produced it?
I think you just know. You just like deep down somewhere. You're like, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people out there who, if you go to a typical influencer page, it's just all pictures of them. It's just pictures, 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 pictures of them. And if you go to my social media, it's like comparisons, education. That's basically all it is. There's hardly any pictures of me at all. And I have been meaning to put up more pictures of me or incorporate pictures of me in there because I am the guy making the stuff. But it's like, you kind of just know. You post something and you really have to take the time to say, it's like if you were to say, write a post even before you post it and you reread it and you say, okay, is this what I'm trying to say here? Is this what I want to get across today? Or is it just a picture of me with my shirt off because I'm feeling a bit shit and I just want people to say, man, you look so good, And if the answer is yes, that's what you're doing, well then think of something better to post, I mean, what's the goal? Like for me, it's to help people with nutrition and training, So every post I make should have something to do with it, in my opinion, And it's okay to put up the old posts. It's like, oh yeah, life update, business update, whatever. But I just don't see the point in, doing that kind of empty influencer content because it just achieves nothing. I just don't see the point. There's heaps of other influencers already doing that.
That is true. That is what I guess is the trending content.
To summarize, I think it's a gut feeling. You just know whether it's, consistent with your values or not.
I like that. Well, I guess I'll throw another question at you. Because I think I hope there is. Are there any mentors or role models that have had a significant impact on your career or business that have helped you, maintain that me attitude that, I am this authentic person. I'm not a character playing a role.
Not ones in my life. Really, I would say more people online like Gary Vee and Jordan Peterson and even Tony Robbins, actually, to some degree. I think Tony's got a lot of good stuff to say. And probably what helped me the most when I was starting out was Gary Vee, to be honest, because Gary Vee's the man. Like, because he talks a lot about life, but he also talks a lot about business as well. And that was exactly what I needed, to hear about making content and how to do it and how to think about, people's opinions and what they think of your content and how they criticize it and blah, 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 blah. So I think Gary Vee was probably by far the biggest influence on me when I was starting out. And I don't even watch much of his content now because I've kind of learnt most of it, but I think he was by far the biggest influence, I would say.
Yeah, I think Gary Vee is the best to start out with. If you need that push to actually do that thing, to start that business, to leave the job, to, ask that person out, to just live your happiest, truest life, Gary Vee's the best person to sort of start you on that journey.
Yeah.
And I think he is someone you can keep around forever, but there's a time where you've got to let those training wheels go and you've just got to test it yourself. You can always go back to his content, but yeah, once you've got the ball rolling, try it for yourself. I think that's what...
Well, and I think a lot of his content is he hits home the same kind of ideas. So once you've actually got it, you don't need to hear that again. And so you keep hearing the same thing. You're like, I probably don't need to watch this anymore. Because it is all the same themes. And it's like people just smacking their head against the wall, just not understanding it, And I was one of them. And until it kind of clicks and the penny drops, and you're like, right, okay. And then it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when that happens, you can literally just run with it and buy his books too. They're good books to just have as
Yeah,
resources to
I've
look
actually
back
I've got one or two of them, but I haven't read it
on.
because I learned all of the stuff from him on social media. Pretty much, I just watched all his videos, and I've bought heaps of books that I haven't read. I'm one of those people who buys them
Yeah.
and doesn't read them. Yeah, I'm reading Game of Thrones at the moment instead, the Song of Ice and Fire, because I find it much more interesting.
Sometimes it is like that. Like I've got a whole bunch of books that my camera's sitting on that I haven't read, but like I'll get maybe 2 or 3 pages in, and it's just I'll get round to it.
Yeah, I've literally got a box full of them, probably 20 something books. All kinds of different ones, and all the ones that people recommend, like Atomic Habits and all that. And I buy them, but then I'm just so busy working on my business or doing whatever I'm doing, I just don't. And if I'm going to read something, it's more like read something like, that's fiction, because it's
you get to take a break. Your mind gets to relax.
Yeah, and you just got to chill out, and yeah.
What do you do? Because I'd assume, does your mind race a mile a minute with different ideas and stuff? Sometimes at the end of the day, when you've had like a really productive day, does your brain still?
No, I'm a real even keel person. I have very good control of my thoughts and what's going on, and so when it's time to think about business, it's time to think about business, and when it's not time, it's not time, and I won't. I mean, there's always things going on, but I'm very good at putting thoughts into drawers and closing the drawer, when I need to or whatever. I always have been. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's probably a pro and a con, but because you can't always be thinking about your business, otherwise you just go insane, But there's a time and place where you do need to. So yeah.
So how do you sort of process that? Like, what's the thought process that helps you go, all right, we'll file that away and we'll pull it out again when I need that?
I don't know. I don't think I even consciously do it. Honestly, it's like if you sit down at your laptop, it's like it's time to work. But I think it's just a thing that you just learn to do. I suppose it's the exact opposite of having to deal with like anxiety or something like that, where you just can't control any of the thoughts at all. And your brain's kind of deciding what you are thinking about, and you just can't control it. It's basically the opposite. And I just have I suppose, a skill where I can choose what to think about most of the time. Anyway,
Shit,
I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, because my mind's kind of the opposite. I'm like, whenever I try to go lie down for bed, my mind just decides to go, bro, you should do this. You should think about this. Man, what if we write something about this? Or what if we look more into this? I'm like, bro, come on, man. I'm just trying to
Does it tend to happen when you go to bed, when you go to sleep? So what you do is get a notepad and put it next to the bed with a pen. And when you go to bed and you have ideas and stuff like that, write them all down. And then you don't have to think about them anymore because they're written down, so they'll be there for you tomorrow.
I need to start doing
that. I don't know who I got that from. I don't even do that. Maybe I should do that. But I heard that from somebody. It might even have been Gary Vee. I can't remember who it was, but it does help because it means that you've got that thought out and you've put it somewhere and you can come back to it later. So now you don't need to think about it anymore. Because sometimes you think about things and you're like, oh, I don't want to forget that. So you keep thinking about it. And then that's,
keeps you up half the night. And you're like, shit, okay, how are we going to develop this? Keep developing it in your head. You're like, fuck.
Yeah, I think even just brainstorming, just in general, is, and I don't do that very often either because I don't really need to. But sometimes if it's like, I'm not sure how I'm going to approach something or how I'm going to do something, it's like do a brainstorm and just write it all down in a notebook or something. And all of a sudden, it's like a weight off your mind because it's somewhere else, and you can always come back and look at that again and think about it again. But it's not just stuck in your head, tormenting you, because you've kind of got it out, Yeah.
Shit, no, my luck, I'll forget where I put it.
You got to take it with you everywhere. Take the old book with you. I just put it in like my laptop bag or whatever, so I just take it with me whenever I'm going to the cafe to do work or whatever.
Oh, yo, that's a smart idea. I should note that down actually and make sure that I actually do that because my mind runs a mile a minute, especially when I'm trying to go to bed.
Yeah, write in your notebook that you're going to write in your notebook.
Need the notebook for the notebook.
Yeah.
What were some of your initial challenges when you first were jumping into this world of social media and content creation? What was your biggest hurdle?
Biggest hurdle was probably when we began. There were two of us, like I said before, Ricky and I. The biggest hurdle was probably trying to make it work with both of us doing it, and it turned out it was impossible. Because, I mean, it's a great idea. You think we can start social media together. We can share all the different things we have to do. Whether it's making content or doing accounts or doing plans or doing whatever it is. We can all share that burden and it'll all work really well and seamlessly and blah, blah, blah. And it just does not work like that at all. Because for a start, while you might both be PTs or you might both be whatever you are going to have different ideas about things, different ways of thinking about things, different approaches. And you've now got to somehow compromise how you're going to get things across. And a good example was that I was very argumentative and Ricky wasn't, for example. So I'd be the one arguing all the time. So it was actually quite difficult. And once Ricky decided to leave, which is a long story, but he decided to leave, everything just got easier because I didn't have to run anything by anybody or whatever. It was just, I would just do what I wanted to do and I would talk about what I wanted to talk about. And I would do it on my schedule and I didn't have to check with anybody, when are you free to film something or whatever. It's just, I will just go and do it. And that's how I've done it ever since. And man, it's made it so much easier when you don't have to, check everything with somebody else, which makes things very difficult.
Yeah, I could imagine. Like, at least now I've got that freedom to just post it, schedule anything whenever I'm on my time. But
yeah, exactly. I mean, imagine if you had to check with someone every time you had to do it. Be like, "What do you think of this content that I made?" And they're like, "Oh, actually, I wish you'd said this and this and didn't talk so much about this." Well, now you got to film it again, or it's just there's no future in that.
Nah,
it's too difficult.
That's why I think sometimes you kind of just got to look and just realize it. Sometimes it's just never going to work out, and you got to be okay with it.
Yeah,
because I think I learned that lesson from Kevin O'Leary, the guy from Shark Tank, the US version.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's just like, you just got to be ready to know when you got to take, either it be a relationship, a business idea, an actual current business, take it around the back of the barn and, put it down. Because not everything's meant to work out.
You got to know when to cut the cord, eh? You can't just hang on to things and try and make everything work. Sometimes it's just not worth the effort.
Yeah. And so how did you know, like, how long were you willing to go with this before you were going to give up if it didn't, kick off as it has? Did you have a time frame?
No, I didn't. I just kind of, I never really thought it wouldn't work. I thought it would do well, but as long as I put in the work, and I think one of the reasons that there aren't a lot of social media people like me in New Zealand doing what I'm doing is because it's bloody hard work. And, like I work 7 days a week. I never have days off. I'm always doing something, and I do everything as well. I even build my own bloody website, so there's always stuff to do, and you just kind of live it, and it's really fulfilling. It's not like, I've been employed at lots of different places in the past, and working for somebody else is not the same as owning your own business, putting in the work, and even as a PT in person, the amount of even your money that you make is reliant on how hard you work. And if you don't work hard, you make no fucking money and you fail. And so you have to work hard and you have to keep yourself afloat. And so it's very fulfilling when you do well. And you just got to say to yourself, well, this will work as long as I put in the work and I do the things I need to do. If I don't, it won't. And so then you have no choice. And you can't ever, Schwarzenegger says famously, you can't have a plan B, because if you have something to fall back on, you're not going to go all in on plan A. So I didn't have something to fall back on once I took it fully online anyway. So you kind of just got to fully commit and just go, you know what? It will succeed if I put in the work. If I don't, it won't. And so I know what I need to do.
And you're definitely reaping the fruits of your labor, bro. It's amazing.
I would say so.
Yeah, shit, yeah.
Yeah.
Doing amazing.
But I mean, we're
out
not
there.
finished yet. Like, I've done really well, but it's, you know, I can't
Still
just
room to
stop.
grow.
I can't just say, you know what, I've done well, time to have a rest.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't work like that. It just keeps going. And that's why you've got to enjoy it. Because if it was just some job I was doing for somebody else or whatever, I mean, it'd be very hard to just, keep working every day. But I just love doing it. So no problem,
Yeah, bro. No, I definitely feel that. And that's kind of why I'm trying to do this as well, is so I can reach that point of becomes a full-time job, and I have my own things going on, and you just get that self-worth because when it's your own creation, you have a little bit more interest in seeing it succeed, so you work a little bit harder. You don't
Absolutely.
mind putting in those extra hours.
Yep.
Whereas when
And
you
I'll
work
tell
for
you
someone
what,
else, you're like,
and it's something that people don't understand particularly from the business point of view. When people have not had their own business before and they've just been employed by people all their lives, which is most people, they don't understand what it's like to have your own thing because they haven't experienced it. And I was in that boat as well. And it wasn't until I started PTing as a sole trader, running my own show, that pros and cons. Of course, everything has pros and cons. But man, it is so fulfilling to build up your own business, and you put in the hard work, and you see it start to build and grow. It's much more fulfilling than just someone pays you money to do something. Particularly if it's something you don't even like doing.
yeah.
We've all been there. So it's just a different world, and it's very hard to explain to somebody who hasn't done it.
Do you have any advice for anyone, on the fence about, I'd really be keen to start my own thing? Do you have any advice for someone on that stage?
I would just say, like you said before, you've just got to do it. You've got to go all in. If you're going to half-ass it, you're going to get half-ass results, and that's not what we want. You just got to commit to it. You got to put in the work, and if you do that and it fails, then who cares? You can always get another job, or you can do whatever, but you're not going to find out. It's that whole thing. If you never ask, the answer is always going to be no. You've just got to do it, and it's scary, but you just got to do it.
100%,
Tough shit.
100%. And failure is not the worst thing in the world. Failure is just an opportunity to learn.
Yep.
It's a new chance to grow and become a better person for it. Now you know what not to do and what doesn't work.
Exactly. It's just a learning experience. It's just, that's the failure is how we learn to be better and succeed in the long term anyway, And I talk about people to people about that when it comes to, say, nutrition. If you're following trying to change your diet to be a healthier diet. So, well, people expect themselves to just, I'm now going to eat healthy 100% of the time. It's like, well, no, you're not. You're going to slip up. You're going to fall off the wagon. You're going to have times where you might binge drink, you might binge eat, you might eat all kinds of shit. And that's okay, because then you wake up the next day and go, you know what? Let's look at that. Why did that happen? Was I stressed? Was it because I bought the wrong stuff at the grocery store? Was it whatever it was? And you learn, okay, I'm not going to do that next time. So I'm going to set myself up better so that doesn't happen. But you can't expect yourself to be perfect. It's all about failing over and over again and just getting better each time and just learning.
Yeah, I think expecting perfection, you're only setting yourself up to fail every time.
Yep.
So you just got to learn from that, continue to build. You'll be great.
Yep. Oh, and the other thing is, if people expect themselves to be perfect, they're always disappointed in themselves and really hard on themselves. They beat themselves up, which is counterproductive, and it makes everything even more difficult than it was before, because now you're just telling yourself you're a piece of shit because you didn't do this and you didn't do this, and it's like, well, we all trip up. I mean, and that's part of the whole thing on social media, is that I don't want to appear like some dude who's just does everything perfectly and goes to the gym every day and eats healthy every day and never eats any chocolate, or because it's just, that's not realistic, and that's not how it is. And so I would never pretend like that's the case, because it's not.
Yeah, and I love that because it's, as much as it is, trying not to set yourself up for perfection and being too afraid of failure, it's just about enjoying the process and have some fun along the way, because life's too short to take everything so fucking seriously. Enjoy it. It's a process. It's fun. Amen. It's supposed to be fun.
Yep. Which is why, don't do a job that you don't enjoy, because you only get one life. Don't waste it doing some shit you don't even like doing,
Just because your parents want you to do it doesn't mean you have to.
No, No. Oh, that's what the notebook's for too. Sitting down and thinking about what you actually want. What do I want for a job? What do I want from life? What do I want my life to look like? And go out and get it.
Yeah. Maybe even plan how you can achieve this.
Yep.
Life is good if you make the right decisions.
Yep,
Speaking about life as a whole, if we could go back and tell, if we had, let's go with 19-year-old Kieran seated next to you, if you could tell him any piece of advice, warning, or if you'd just like to say something to him, what would you tell him?
Well, I'll describe 19-year-old Kieran to you, shall I?
Yeah.
So you know who I'm talking to. So when I was 19, so I came out of school, I did 7th form, came out of school, went to university, and I'd been in a relationship with a girl since I was 14. And we moved to Wellington together, and we're living together. And I was up at university, I was studying to do a Bachelor of Information Technology, which has got to be the most boring thing in the whole world, I found out. But anyway. And so I wouldn't go to university. And you know what I'd do instead? I played World of Warcraft all day long. I bet you didn't see that one coming.
Definitely didn't see that coming, bro.
Yep. And I'm not particularly proud of that. But I wasn't even drinking or anything like that. But I was just a loser. I didn't have. I didn't even know what I was doing for a job. I can't remember. Oh, I think I was working at Mawson's, which is a supermarket.
Yeah.
Style thing. And yeah, failing at university, playing video games all day long, and that was basically my life. So I would say, I'd give him a kick up the ass and say, get out your notebook and start brainstorming what you want to do with your life and what you want from your life, and stop being such a fucking loser. That's probably what I would say.
Yeah, but some harsh truths.
At the end of the day, there's nothing I could say to myself at 19 years old that would probably change the path that I took, because when you're young like that, you're still really just a kid, and you have to learn by failing, and you have to go and do different things, and go and do different jobs you don't like until you finally work out what your passion is, which turned out to be fitness. But I didn't know that when I was 19. I wasn't even going to the gym. I didn't even start going to the gym till I was 20.
Shit.
So it's like, you just kind of, I think when you're young like that, it's not so much about just knowing what to do. You've just got to do things and just live your life and travel and do whatever you want to do. And then in time, you will start to go, okay, I need a purpose now, and I need to work out what I'm actually going to do for the long term here. So it's a funny one, because what could I possibly have said to myself that would actually make me make better decisions and stuff? 19-year-old me would probably just said F off, I mean, what are you talking about?
Then turn around back on the game.
Yeah, it's a funny thing to think about, actually, because I was so young and dumb and naive, and all the rest of it. So,
but aren't we all at that age? We all have this optimistic outlook on everything and how the world's going to be and what we're going to be and how we get treated. And then, a few years go and we have a few more hardships, and we soon realize that it's not all bloody roses and candies. It's hard. It's fucking hard.
Absolutely. But I mean, at the time, when you're young like that, you're not thinking about your purpose in life and how you can make your life fulfilling and your dream job and all that. You're just thinking probably money, booze, girls, you're thinking short term, you're not thinking long term at all. So, but I think that's fine. You just got to, you can't come out of school thinking that you've got your life sorted. It just doesn't work like that,
Nah, school doesn't set you up to have those kind of victories coming out of school like that.
Not at all. School teaches you lots of things you don't need to know, and not many things you do need to know, about life anyway, and just life in general, it would be nice if you told me how to do my taxes and, and how to budget properly and,
taxes
things like
and
that.
A budget, fuck useful. A hypotenuse.
Yeah, and just send me to Gary V YouTube and I'll just watch that instead of going to some of these classes. Would have been more useful.
Shit, yeah. Anyway. But that's the world we live in, and that's just how the education system works. It's not.
Yeah.
I think it's not invented for everyone to succeed within that structure. It's invented for people to go on to university and then go on to become another teacher or a lecturer within the university or a science space. It's not actually teaching people to become self-sufficient humans.
Well, if you think about, back when we did that PT course, think about some of the stuff that was covered in that was completely useless,
Yeah.
such as how a cell works. I mean,
Yeah.
when am I ever going to tell one of my clients how their muscle cell contracts, and why would they even give a shit? I need to know about the things that are actually going to be useful to me in my business, and things, for example, that would be more useful would have been like how to do a budget, how to set up a good business structure, etc. All the things that Gary Vee would teach you. None
Yep.
of those were covered in the course, or not very in depth anyway. And all these things that we just didn't even need to know. So, well, why is nobody saying, "Hey, this course isn't very good. Let's improve it"? People need to
Yep.
come, like you and I, who did the course, come back and say, you know what, those bits were really useful, but these bits were not. And here's what we would have liked to have known looking back, and then redo the course, like redesign
Yep.
it. And they should do the same thing for the whole school system, in
Yeah,
my opinion.
bro. And like one thing I wish we had learned or did a lot more in that PT course was actually role play asking clients for money, telling them your price. Because that's where I failed as a PT. It just felt awkward for me telling people that were like 8, 9, 10, 15 years older than me that, this is my price per hour. That was the most awkward thing to me, I felt, was asking
Yep.
people for money, essentially. That's all you're asking. You're asking them for money. Back then, I couldn't do it.
I learned that the hard way as well. But the key to that I learned was that you've got to set up the value first before you even talk about money. Because if you just come straight off the bat, I charge $80 an hour, it's like, well, who cares? What am I getting for that? You haven't even told them what they're getting, So you say, here's how I can help you. This is what you need. This is how I can help you. These are all the things, blah, 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 blah. And then they will want to ask you how much it costs because they want all those things you just described. So if you don't set up the value first, I do the same thing on a website. If you go to my website, where are the prices? They're
Way
at the
at the
bottom of
bottom.
the page.
Yeah.
Because if I put them at the top, it's like, who cares? Like, what is this website even about? I don't even know yet. And you're already telling me how much you charge. I mean, who cares? It's like, what is your service? How can it help? And then it's all this stuff. And then you see the price and you go, you know what? Is that price, am I going to pay that price for all those things that he's just talked about or not? And, so you've got to have the value first. Otherwise, it's just the cost is irrelevant because it's not, you know what I mean? It's completely irrelevant.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I learned that as I did sales and stuff, as I grew, because I think I was only 20 something. I think I was 20, 21 when we finished that PT course and doing that. And I was like, trying to ask people for money just felt really awkward. But further on down the line, when I went to Dunedin, I was a bar manager. Fuck knows how I got that role. Funny story about that, but maybe I'll tell it. The two previous bar managers both quit at the same time, and I was like the most experienced waiter. I'd been there for 2 weeks longer than everyone else, but I'd still only been at this bar for 2 months. They promoted me.
Damn,
Bro,
on the deep end,
right? So you learn quick how to be sort of not staunch enough to tell patrons to, politely fuck off out of the bar because you're too intoxicated. And then I went and worked at Vodafone, and that's when I learned more about sales. And that's where I learned, it's the product and service first, price later, because you're trying to get them to buy into, your Wi-Fi or your phone plan.
And the other thing is you've got to be confident about what you're charging, and you can't. So you've got to be okay with the person saying no.
Yeah.
One of the things, if you're a PT, a self-employed PT, is that every time you take someone for a free session or you have a consultation or whatever, you see it as an opportunity to make more money. And that's a problem because then it's really important to you. And so you don't want to fail. And so you might say, okay, I charge $80 an hour. And then oh, it's a bit steep. You go, okay, 70, 60, 50, and
I'll
you can't do
free.
that because the price is the price. And you've got to believe that what you are providing the person is worth the amount that you're charging. And if you don't really believe that, then you can't ask for it. You feel bad asking for it because it's not worth that much. Am I really going to do all these things I'm talking about? So when I have it on my website or whatever, and I list all the stuff, the person who signs up is going to get all that stuff. And I know that. So there's the price. If you can't afford it or it's too expensive for you or you think it's not worth it, then that's completely fine. And you don't have to sign up. And I'm 100% cool with that. You've got to know that what you're charging is worth all the value, or that the value even outweighs what you're charging, which it does on my website, goodguysfit.com.
Bro, I was just about to say that. Like, this isn't a paid promotion. He's not paying to be on the podcast right now. But if you check out the website and you see all the shit you get access to, the value is quite fair, I think. Like, that's more than a reasonable price to pay.
That's more than fair, yeah. I mean, because that's what it's about. It's like, when I talk about improving the app and the platform, it's like, how can I add more value to what it already is? It's already huge value, but how can I make it better? How can I make it so it's even better than it currently is? And that's what the goal is at the moment.
See, so whānau, all my listeners, man, if you're looking to get into a healthier lifestyle, this isn't just limited to New Zealand. You can be international.
International, yep. Yeah, probably I would say 99% of my clients are from New Zealand, but I have got a couple of people overseas. All the food and stuff in the nutrition plans is kind of general food, so it's not like special brands or anything like that. So it can be used wherever you are in the world.
Oosh. See, there we go. Whānau, doesn't matter where you are in the world. I know I've got a few Australian listeners. Funnily enough, there's a few from Milwaukee that listen to this podcast. I have stats on where everyone in the world is that listens to this, and there's a few.
Do you know people
Milwaukee.
over there?
No.
That's random. That's very random.
Yeah. So, hey, if you're listening, if you're still a listener from Milwaukee,
shout out
thanks.
Milwaukee.
Yeah. Thanks for
Milwaukee
listening.
Bucks.
Up the Bucks.
Yeah. Giannis fans.
Yeah, pretty much. If you're able to, would you give a quick, brief overview of all the things you offer on your website for those too lazy to click the link below?
Yep. Put me on the spot.
Don't put your prices out there. If they want to know how much, they go check it out them damn selves.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, all the stuff's on the website anyway, but the basic idea is you can choose between a nutrition plan or a training plan or both that you can access through my app. And it's the nutrition plans are personalized, the training plans are customized. So whatever your goal is, whether it's to lose body fat or to gain muscle, then I can make a plan that can get you there, basically. And there's heaps of features and stuff. I won't go into them. They're all on the website if you want to check it out. And but basically the idea is to give you the structure so you don't have to calculate all that stuff yourself. You don't have to work it all out. It's just a plan. You just follow it. You still have to put in the work. I can't do the work for you. I can just make it easier. But you still have to put in the work. But it's the idea is to give you the structure so that you can do that.
See, Whānau?
How was that for a sales pitch?
That's perfect. And like you said, if you want to find out more, go check out the website. The link will be in the description down below. So go check it out, Whānau. Goodguysfit.com. That's where you go find it. Everyone's going to think that's an ad. Everyone's going to think that's an ad. $20.
I'll send you a free hoodie or something in exchange for giving me a shout out.
No, it's all service, man. Whoever comes on and needs something promoted, that's what this show's about. This is not just my dream. These are everyone's dreams. Speaking of dreams, I've got a dream deposit box. People don't really like it when I just call it the dream box because it was supposed to be a dream jar. And all my guests that have come on the show have put in a dream. There's a few in there. This is episode 20, so there's over 20 dreams. The pink ones are everyone else's. The green ones are mine. They range from owning a McLaren, that's my selfish goal, all the way up to making it to their 30th birthday, seeing people reach their full potential, run a marathon. Some people just want to attend a Rugby World Cup final. So that's the spectrum of dreams. Do you have 1, 2 that you'd like to put in there?
Dreams. Well, probably one of them would be to live overseas for a while. I'm thinking, well, because the whole one of my goals from the start of doing all this stuff was that I could work from anywhere, but I've already reached that goal, so that can't be my dream. But actually, I'll tell you what. Here's one. I would like to travel the country and go and train with different people from around the country at their various gyms, because why not? You know,
Yeah, that's a cool one.
I think that's cool.
Travel NZ training at various gyms with various people.
Like with clients, followers, etc. I just think that'd be cool. You know, I think people on social media don't do that type of thing. They just kind of become these big personalities, and they're like, you know, mini celebrities. And I just don't want to be like that at all. You know.
Nah, bro. I don't think you'll get like that either. I think you're too grounded.
Yeah, but people start to treat you like that. I'll tell you a funny story. One time I was down, I was down Oriental Parade at Wellington, and it was a hot day. It was a few years ago. It must have been when Good Guys first started taking off. And I went into there's like a little dairy there. Went in to get a drink, and I came up to the counter to buy it, and the guy behind the counter said, "Oh, you're from Good Guys Fit." I must be wearing the t-shirt or something. I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, can I take a photo?" And I was like, no one had ever asked me to take a photo with,
Yeah.
before. And I was like, "Oh, that's kind of weird, but cool," I was like, "Yeah, sure." And so, you know what he does? I thought he was going to take a selfie of us. He just turned his phone around and snapped a photo of me standing in his shop and was like, "Thanks." And I was like, "What the hell?" I think he must have sent it to his mates or something. He said, "Oh yeah, I saw the guy from Good Guys." But I was like, I was fully expecting it to be like a selfie, like, yeah.
Yeah. What the fuck?
It was so weird. I was like, what on earth is going on?
That's a strange thing to happen, bro. What the fuck?
Yeah. I walked out. I was like, what? I didn't get it.
That's a random encounter, but bro, hey, I love it.
Well, I mean, I do see some people that like the supermarket and stuff randomly as well who will say hi and we'll have a chat and stuff. But I see a lot of people who recognize me who don't talk to me, which is even weirder, because
Or
you know that they know, you can tell.
Are they doing
And they just kind of. Nah, but it's just a look, it's a look that I used to never get until I started doing all this stuff. And you just know, and it's like, you can't just say hi like a normal fucking person, I'm not gonna bite your bloody hand off, or
Yeah.
But, it's a weird thing.
Yeah. Not
Was that a good enough dream, or do you need a bigger scale one?
Bro, we can do a bigger one if you'd like. So, I did forget to say that. Whilst you are doing that, I need you to take photos, because back there one day I'm going to collate everyone that has achieved their dreams with their little post-it note. I want to attach it to a photo or a message or a memento from them completing that dream. So
okay, let's put another one in there. Let's put in one that I would like to live in Asia for a while at some point.
Oosh. Asia. Whereabouts in Asia?
Thailand or...
Oh, nice.
Yeah, probably Thailand, I would say. Somewhere like that. I just think that would be cool.
That'd be a whole new experience. How long do you reckon you'd want to live there? A few years? Decades?
Probably start with a couple months. See how it goes. Don't need to commit to a few years. Just start with a couple months.
Start
see
small.
What's going on.
Start small.
You can always come back then if you feel like,
not really working out.
Yeah.
And so it goes into the dream deposit box, which is a Trae Young sneaker box, which says, "Always remember when they doubted you," which is my favorite quote of 2022. I only found this because I signed up to a social basketball team and I needed some shoes. And then I seen the quote. I normally go for Nikes, but I seen the quote and I was like, shit, all right. I like that. It's meant to be. I'm taking that, and it's going to be my dream jar.
Damn, that marketing works.
But it worked. It worked. But them Trae Youngs are comfortable. If anyone's out there's looking to buy some Trae Youngs. But I was also thinking, on your travels around the country, working out with different people, man, if you're in Taranaki, let's do it. Let's link up. I don't go to the gym, but I can get a gym membership, or we can do something completely different. We can do some jiu-jitsu. I can get us an entrance to a jiu-jitsu club here, and we can do a training session with them.
Oh yeah, I've never done jiu-jitsu before.
Yeah, it'll be sort of like a different style of training that you do with different people, maybe, as you go around the country. Do whatever.
Well, okay. If I come up, I'll go do your jiu-jitsu, and you're going to come for a blade with me.
Done. I've got a skate park just over yonder.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do half the moves you do, but it'd make for some great content.
Yeah, it'll be a crack up. Yeah. Well, they'll both be a crack up because in jiu-jitsu I'll be getting my ass kicked, so that's always worth a laugh.
I haven't done it in 8 years.
No.
I've got muscle memory. I've got muscle memory. But that'd be pretty cool. Well, I'll vlog you doing jiu-jitsu, and then you vlog me skating.
Oh yeah,
and we can make some content. Yeah, man. So let me know when you're doing the tour, and when you. Well, I don't know if I'll still be in Taranaki, but wherever the hell we are, we'll make it work.
Actually, I was going to ask you. You know, remember our PT course that we did?
Yeah.
How many people were in the class? Was it like 35 or something?
Yes.
How many of those people are still working in the fitness industry today? Do you know?
I know you are. You're one. I know Vic.
Percentage, is it?
Vicky isn't. Maybe Kelsey is. Not too sure.
Oh,
I think she still does. Who else was it? Oh, Sandy. Sandy, she's guest
Sandy
lecturer.
is, yeah. I saw Sandy not that long ago. Yeah.
Yeah, she's still there. Not Vicky. I don't think Damien is. Who else was in that class? I don't know if Adam is. I haven't heard from Adam in a while.
He was PTing for a while. But the point of the reason I bring that up is that like we had a PT course of 35 people, and I would say there's probably less than 5 of them are even in the fitness industry now, which is quite interesting. I just think that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I did carry on that stuff. I did PT, then I did the level 6 exercise prescription through NZIS, and then I went on to do the PE degree, which turned into physical education, activity and health, minor in sport development and management. And then I did a sports science honours, but it wasn't even really in
You like
sports.
studying, huh?
Didn't at the time.
You love studying.
But I did enjoy it towards the university route.
Yeah. I was the complete opposite. I was like, give me the certificate. I want to go, PT now.
Yeah.
Let me at them.
But I think it was that whole complex of I didn't really know what to do, so I just kind of kept studying. The government paid me, so I was happy.
Yeah. It felt kind of like that in that course. There was a lot of people there who, it's like they couldn't think of anything better to do, so they just did a PT course, which is kind of a funny thing. You'd expect it to be full of fitness buffs, and but it just wasn't at all, really.
Nah. Oh, did Francois and Tim just do it because they were here on that rugby trip? Yeah. They had to do something?
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure.
Nah, neither.
Because both of them gone back to their respective countries now, haven't they?
Yeah. I think they're both from France.
Are they?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Both were living there. I know Francois is definitely French.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know where Tim was from. Maybe he was French.
Because he had a different accent.
Yeah, I thought it was like South African or something. I have a really bad memory. I just can't remember. I can't remember. Eh?
Those were the good old days, man.
Yeah.
Another thing that we do here on the 99 Dreams is this is obviously being recorded, so there's chance for the future you to come back and look at this video. If you're watching this back in 5 to 10 years, what's something you'd like to tell yourself or ask yourself if you were able to watch this video back and reflect on it? What would you like to say?
To my future self?
Yeah.
That's a difficult one.
Yeah?
Because I don't even know who that will be. You know what I mean? Like, it'll be me, obviously, but it'll be me that's even wiser and hopefully
living in Thailand,
fat, even more muscle. Living in Thailand. I don't know. I'd probably just say, live it up. Live it up, bro. Live it up. Keep working. Keep enjoying what you're doing. Make sure you keep enjoying what you're doing. Otherwise, do something else.
I rate that.
What do people usually say to that question? I don't even.
Bro, nah. Most people get stuck with that. They're like, bro, I don't know. What do I tell myself? But the most common is like, I just hope you're doing well. I hope you've achieved what you've wanted to achieve up until this point, and I hope you're happy.
That too. What would you say to yourself if you watch this back in 5 years?
I just hope that we're still going. That the dream hasn't died. That we haven't resorted back to a 9 to 5, slaving away for someone else. I hope we're making more dreams come true, and I hope we've finally got a new backdrop.
You should just get yourself a green screen.
I don't know how to work green screen on this, and then if I have to edit that in Premiere Pro,
I don't know if you could use it with a website. Yeah. I don't know if it would work.
I know it works
or just
on Zoom.
Get yourself like a fabric or whatever that just covers it, so then you don't have to muck around with it. You just put it up, or put up a something with your logo on it or whatever.
Well, I'm gonna paint the wall and that door, and I've got these to hang up.
What's that?
Just says 99Dreams, 2K22, the beginning. So when I started, and then a few of the projects that I've done along the year, kind of like a Spotify.
I like your logo, eh? I think your logo's cool, man.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate that.
Because you must have done this on purpose, right? Because it's 99, but it also looks like a speech mark.
No, I didn't actually realize that. Shit.
Well, it's a double.
Yeah, the 9s are enclosed, and it is like an open.
You didn't do that on purpose?
No.
Oh.
I just kind of wanted the 9s to overlap because I hated the gap between the two 9s.
Yeah.
So I wanted them to overlap. In their videos, actually, like it starts with the 9, then the 9 comes out, then the cloud comes out from the back and opens up, and it says Dreams. It's animated.
That's so funny because it looks. I'm looking at it on the little bit thing up here. It actually looks like the end of a quotation thing, as in it's a podcast. You're talking about stuff. You couldn't have made a better logo if you tried.
Thanks, bro.
Random. That's random, eh?
Yeah, I've never noticed until you now say it that it looks like it is the end of that sentence, and it makes sense.
Because then you could just whack on a t-shirt or something, and it would look quite cool.
Yeah.
If you need, are you ever going to make t-shirts and stuff like that?
I've got hoodies coming out in Feb. I kind of scrambled around and found a manufacturer in New Plymouth that just does screen printing, but always looking. Where do you get yours? You import?
I get them done down here. No, I get them. They're from a place in Wellington on Adelaide Road called Brazen Clothing, Brazen something. Might be Brazen Clothing, but they sort it all out for me. So yeah,
is it screen printed?
Screen printed, yep.
Oh yeah.
And this is the logo here. It was I had it designed by the guy who did the Gymshark logo.
Oh, yo.
Yeah, so that's why it looks so cool.
It does look cool.
That's probably the one thing I haven't done is design my own logo. Like I had an idea of what I wanted it to look like, and then I went to him and I was like, "What you got for me?" And that's what it came up with. It actually turned out pretty good. So
it's a sick logo.
Did you ever see the old logo? It was not good, eh? Like it was all right at the time, but it wasn't a good representation of what the brand was or anything. It was just
Send me a photo. I'll put it in the video.
I'll have to see if I can find it somewhere in the depths of my hard drive.
What's in store for 2023 for Kieran and Good Guys Fit, or even just Kieran alone?
Well, the two entities, Kieran and Good Guys Fit, are intertwined, and one doesn't really do much without the other because that's just the way that life is at the moment. That's the way that I like to have it, But basically, I just like to keep working hard and keep creating content and just keep growing and keep my foot on the gas, so to speak, and create more YouTube content and more stuff like that. Maybe even do a podcast. I don't know. The only reason I haven't started a podcast yet is because I thought, man, that's going to take some time, and I just already don't have much time. So I was like, yeah, maybe one day.
If you do make one, you don't have to make it into video, so it cuts off a lot of time. You just edit the audio, don't have to worry about matching up the visuals, and then you just export it to media encoder, like just upload to Spotify, Apple, Amazon, iHeartRadio. There's a few others, Google Podcasts, Crowdcast, Motion Wave, a whole bunch of things like that you can find 99Dreams on.
What's your goal for 2023?
Man, well, I set one in 2022, but we're almost there. So I had humble goals, I just wanted to reach 50 subscriptions on YouTube, 150 on Instagram, and at least 50 on TikTok. TikTok's my least performing platform, but I'm at 40 something. Let me have a look. I was at 40 something the other day on YouTube, so I'm almost there.
Nice.
Sorry, I'm at 47, so I'm 3 away from my goal. So I think I might have to push that out a little bit further. We are 138 on Instagram, so I'm quite close to my 150 there, and that all kind of occurred in the last 2 weeks before Christmas.
No, yeah.
So I've almost reached those goals. So readjusting, I guess, just get these hoodies out. Hopefully, sell this first batch of hoodies. Get the website done. Like you, I'm one and the same. 99 Dreams is Rauri, and Rauri is 99 Dreams.
Yeah.
What else would I like to do? I achieved one of my biggest dreams last year, which was to buy a motorbike. I have one.
Yeah.
Now I want more.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I guess the goal is just to hopefully keep creating content and keep doing podcasts, but make sure that the content matters that we're creating. We're not just putting content out for the sake of putting content out.
Yep.
That the podcast hopefully adds value to someone. Someone can, come along and say, "Man, Kieran was really insightful. Took a lot from that cordial."
I hope so.
Yeah.
Probably just Kieran talk shit for an hour. But that's like I was saying before. It's like when you put out content, there's got to be a goal, and if it's you don't just put it out for no reason. Just for the sake of I have to do X amount of piece of content this week, so I got to put a picture of this out or a video of this.
Yeah.
It's got to be like quality, over quantity.
100%. And that's I think that's the dreams for 99 Dreams this year, is just to keep putting out quality over quantity, even though we do 2 podcasts a week.
Yeah. Why did you call it 99 Dreams? What's the significance of 99?
Well, this is a dream turned into reality. So it was going to be 100. Now we're down to 99.
Oh, so you did have 100 dreams.
Well, kind of. I was like, well, 100 is a stupid number, so let's go 99. And when people ask, well, why is 99? Well, I'm living one dream now. So,
are you sure you didn't realize the 2 9s look like a speech mark?
Are you looking at this?
Yeah, I can see it in the background. Yeah, it looks just like anyone who's watching this, or listening to this, check out the 99 Dreams logo and tell me that 99 doesn't look like a speech mark.
That's all people are going to see now. They're going to be like, what? Speech mark dreams?
Speech mark dreams. I mean, it's a perfect logo. I mean,
I do like it. It's grown on me.
Like, if you'd taken that to a logo designer or whatever, they might have made that on purpose to look like,
to look like
a quotation.
It wasn't always just going to be a podcast. I'm trying to build it up to be a marketing business. So I'm using the podcast to promote and market, to show that I can.
Yeah.
Doing vlogs to show the behind the scenes. Doing the actual hoodies and t-shirts and things to show that I can promote, market, and sell successfully a product.
Yeah.
To build a marketing business.
Oh yeah. Nice.
Yeah. And have fun along the way.
Yeah. Well, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Got to be having fun. Otherwise, what's the point?
Go back to working your 9 to 5 if you're not having fun.
Yeah. Exactly. Never again. Never again.
So I guess as we start wrapping up here, bro, is there anything you'd like to say? Is there, any messages you'd like to leave the listeners, the audiences with?
I feel like I should have prepared better. Should have thought of some cool things to say. No, I mean, I would just say, the only thing I would say is, you only got one life. YOLO. So don't spend it doing shit that you don't like doing. And don't spend it feeling like you don't want to feel. Like, if you're not feeling good, or you're not feeling healthy, then do something about it, Life's too short to sit around and, complain and not take action,
And
suppose
if you are looking to, make that positive, healthy
yeah,
impact
go
in
to
your life.
goodguysfit.com. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, whether you choose me or a different coach or whatever aside, the message still remains, life's too short. Enjoy it.
Have some fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Bro, these are amazing words to leave the audience with. I keep looking over here to my camera because I'm like looking here. I'm like, I never look at the laptop. My camera's always over
I feel
here.
like this whole thing, I won't be looking at the actual recording because you're here on my screen and the thing's up here. So I'm probably looking like I'm like this the whole time. But never mind.
I'm like that because you just see my eyes just flick back and forth from the camera to this when you're talking. Yeah. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of the game. When you're online, you're not face to face. This is just how you have to do it.
Yeah. Or maybe we'll do one on face to face one day when I come up to New Plymouth.
100%, bro. 100%. After our workouts, I'll be fucked.
Yeah.
But 100%, you're always welcome back on the show, brother. Anytime.
Cheers, man.
If
Appreciate
you need to come back on and promote anything, more than welcome. This is what the 99 Dreams podcast is all about, is just spreading good messages and having fun along the way.
Sweet. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, bro. 100%. So, again, thank you so much for giving up some of your time. You have a busy schedule. Everyone knows this. But thank you so much for giving up some of your time and chatting. It's been great to catch up, actually. It's been a long while.
Yeah.
So it's good to...
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's been awesome. This is the first podcast I've ever been on. So, I've made it.
Definitely won't be the last. Definitely won't be the last.
Mama,
we made it.
We'll see. Yeah.
But bro. Definitely thank you so much. And to all the listeners that are still with us, thank you so much for listening. Take care, everybody. Modi order.